we must meet the needs of the American people. We could come down some because we can change the dates of expiration, the rest of that, but not undermine our priorities to meet the needs of the American people. And they're doing a lot to shore up the stock market, and that's probably a good thing for the economy.
Folks, many states have been sending out their own state stimulus checks. And that's great news for all of us, because President Biden did give the states the opportunity to send out their own state stimulus funds. In the state of California, many people have been already receiving their second state stimulus check. Even in the state of Florida, many people are receiving state stimulus payments as well. Folks, has your state done the same? Has your state given you a state stimulus check yet? Tell me in the comments below.
Usually it's the big money interests, the campaign contributors, and the lobbyists who call the tunes.
I think the investments are sensible. Roads, bridges, all that stuff. Creates jobs, it's important. What we call the pay-fors, how these things are going to be funded, in many ways do not make a lot of sense to me based on what I have seen up to now.
Moderate Democrats want a $3.5 trillion spending plan to remove the limit on state and local tax deductions. A host of moderate Democrats say they will not support President Biden's $3.5 trillion package without a repeal of the cap on state and local tax deductions known as SALT. Now, a fight over the cap on state and local tax deductions could prove Democrats' next hurdle in passing the reconciliation package.
Hyperbole. In my White House, you'll always be welcome. Always be welcome. Labor will always be welcome. You know, you've heard me say many times, I intend to be the most pro-union president, leading the most pro-union administration in American history.
As officials work to project the long-term impact of the crisis, one group is calling on Congress to issue a fourth round of stimulus checks just for older Americans. This is according to Fox News, everybody. The nonpartisan advocacy group, the Senior Citizens League, is warning that the cost of goods and services is rising for people with fixed incomes months before next year's federal cost of living bump. And the economic experts estimate recent increases in inflation means the cost of living adjustment for 2022 will approach 6%.
In fact, what we are looking at in this budget proposal is an historic tax cut for working families.
Some of that may go for higher Medicare costs, however. The Medicare Part B premium for outpatient coverage was projected to rise by $10 a month in 2022. And according to the Senior Citizens League, older Americans are now under pressure from other rising, unavoidable costs like food and transportation. So now the Senior Citizens League is mounting a campaign to Congress to pass a fourth round of stimulus checks that would send $1,400 payments to Social Security recipients only.
And as we speak tonight, half of our people in this country, in the richest country in the history of the world, are living paycheck to paycheck.
Democrats on the Senate Budget Committee reached agreement on the overall total for the party line spending plan during the second meeting this week with Schumer and White House officials in the Capitol. Tim Kaine, a member of the budget panel, says that the next step is ensuring all 50 Democratic caucus members can support the $3.5 trillion figure. Kaine told reporters the goal is for the Budget Committee to all be on the same page and then sell it to the caucus. Once the Budget Committee is on the same page, numbers will start to come out, but we still have a little ways to go to get there. The budget resolution will require backing from every Democrat to make it through the upper chamber and officially kick off reconciliation.
In your communities, and there's no Democratic roads or Republican bridges, but there are families in need of shorter commute times, safer commutes. Kids need to be able to drink clean drinking water. It doesn't have lead in it. And communities need to have reliable. Just say, we just ought to give people ability to just be able to take a deep breath, have a little bit of breathing room. And what are those things? Well, healthcare, a pension, God willing, higher wages in a safer workplace, and protections against discrimination and harassment. That's not asking too much. We've fundamentally transformed how we live and how we work in this country. The reason we have is because of the victories won by labor. I'm going to be a bit repetitive. The 8-hour day, the weekend, time and a half for overtime, safety standards, sick days, victories for all of us. Because I might add, I notice when you all do that, everybody benefits. whether they belong to a union or not. Whether they belong to a union or not. When unions win, workers across the board win. That's a fact. Families win, community wins, America wins, we grow. And despite this, workers have been getting cut out of the deal for too long a time. You know, from 1948, after the war, to 1979, productivity in America increased by more than 100%, while the pay for American workers grew by nearly 100%. And then along came 1979 and everything began to change. Productivity in the country has grown almost 4 times faster than pay since 1979. That means the workers have been given much more to their employers' bottom lines than they've gotten back in their paychecks, breaking the basic bargain of this country. The bargain was if you work hard and you contribute to the welfare of the outfit you work with, you got to share in the benefits. Well, that stopped for a long time. So, you can carve out your piece of the middle class and make it a possibility. That's what got taken away for a lot of people. Instead, some people started seeing the stock market and corporate profits and executive pay as the only measure for economic growth. By the way, the stock market's gone up exponentially since I've been president. You haven't heard me say a word about it. I'm glad it's gone up, no problem. But look, let me tell you something. My measure of economic success is how families like mine growing up, working families, busting their neck, how they're doing, whether they have a little breathing room, whether they have a job that delivers some dignity, a paycheck they can support a family on. In an economy, the economy my administration is building, instead of workers competing with each other for the jobs that are scarce, everybody's mad at me because now, guess what? Employers are competing to attract workers, having to raise pay. No, I'm serious, think about it. That kind of competition in the market helps workers earn higher wages. It also gives them the power to demand dignity and respect in the workplace. Simply put, worker power is essential to building our economy back better than before. It's just that basic. To counter corporate power, to grow the economy from the bottom up and the middle out. I'm so tired of trickle down. I ask, when has the middle class done better that the wealthy haven't done incredibly well? I can't think of a time that when the middle class is booming and moving, everybody does well.